I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be why feminine women are sexy. Well, I've actually got an email here from a female viewer and a reader of my book. And so she's been applying some of the things trying to re-attract a guy she was dating. And so what I want to talk about is we're going to talk about polarity and feminine and masculine energy. Now, guys that are masculine men, now masculine energy is about purpose, drive, mission, succeeding, accomplishing, breaking through barriers, achieving goals, that kind of thing. Feminine energy is about opening up and receiving love. Now, if you get a group of beautiful women in a room and they start talking about themselves, the woman who acts the most feminine, I would say, like where she's kind of unsure of herself, not from a weakness standpoint, but when I say that, I mean she's vulnerable. She's beautiful. She's vulnerable. She's respectful of the men in the room. She lets them take the lead, obviously, as long as there's an alpha male in the room. But when you ask, if you were to poll a group of, say, 100 guys and they listen to 5 beautiful women, the woman who has the best body, the best looks, and acts the most feminine, in other words, she acts like a sex symbol would act, or like a Raquel Welch, where she's just feminine. She's doing shit with her lips and her leg and showing her, her body and her skin. Not all of it, but just enough to entice us. Even though, say a woman who's like the least attractive, even though she might physically have the perfect body, just the way she walks and the way she talks and the way she carries herself, she sounds a little bit more like a dude than this vulnerable, sexy princess or vixen that everybody thinks is so sexy. And so that's one of the things that's really important, because women fall in love slowly over time. And they fall in love through their ears, by talking, by spending time together, by having sex together, those kinds of things. And it usually takes about 2 months for a guy to do everything right to get her to the point where she falls in love. And the more things a guy does wrong, the less of a mystery he is, the more he shows weakness, the longer it's going to take for her to eventually fall in love with him. Now, guys, on the other hand, we're obviously visual creatures, and we see a chick with a nice body and a great ass and a tight skirt, and she's got long, beautiful hair, and she's smiling, makeup's perfect, she smells like fucking candy, body's rocking, she's sweet, she's charming. She just looks like a girl that you want to just take back to your place and have sex with her for the next 2 weeks because she's so beautiful. That's what initially attracts, because us guys, we're visual creatures, and so that's what naturally attracts us. But the problem is some women get more in their masculine just because of the environment. Like I dated a gal once who was a beauty queen, and I'm not going to say what titles that she won, but she competed in all the national titles, and she was fucking smoking hot. But she was raised in a family where the father was a little bit weaker and the mother kind of ran the household. And so she tended to be very domineering, very masculine. And I noticed that, like, when I would take her out on dates, she was always trying to lead, but she was fucking perfectly physically beautiful. She just had a real hard time because she wasn't comfortable letting a man take the direction in the relationship. And ultimately, that's what turned me off about her, because she was like always on. She was always the TV face, always the personality, and always trying to control things and direct where things went. But she could be very submissive as well. When I got her alone back at her place, and we spent, after spending a couple hours with her, but it always seemed like a chore to get her to loosen up and be really feminine, be very vulnerable, because that's when I was most attracted to her. But it's just kind of going out with like a smoking hot chick who basically kind of acts like a dude, even though she could be very feminine. The way she walked and the way she looked and the way she dressed was impeccable, and her body was fucking perfect. But the problem was she just was very masculine how she went about things. And so that's why I eventually lost interest, because men are visual creatures. We're drawn in by a woman's sex appeal, by her feminine energy, by our desire to have sex and ravish her and fuck her brains out. And a girl that wants to have her, it's like we want a lady in the streets and an absolute whore in the sheets. And the woman who does that more often is the woman that us guys are going to want to be with. So I've got an email here from this gal that I was telling you about. And she says, "Hi, thank you for your practical, real wisdom. I did everything right, and this guy I was dating didn't come back to me, and now I'm pissed. The next step is to move on." Yes, because you go through the different phases of grief when a breakup happens or the person doesn't come back to you. And then one of the stages is anger, and obviously you're a little pissed off. And then it's like, I think the next stage, if I remember right, after anger, is acceptance. And that's where you basically are like, hey, it is what it is, nothing I can do about it. And then obviously the step after that is you move on. So the good news is you're basically moving into the place of acceptance, just realizing that it is what it is. So she says, "And my head knows this, but not my heart, and revenge would help me immensely to move on, but I don't see that listed as an option in your book. Did I miss it?" And it's like, no, you didn't. Revenge, it's just simply not worth it. She says, "I'm ultra alpha, and the man that I was dating was a Green Beret. He was very competitive or insecure with me. The way he treated me was the way I've treated several dozen, if not more, men. I get the karma thing profoundly. I know I have to release that aspect of me, but he mirrors to me to resolve my pain, blah, 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 whatever. Let's get to the point." So she says, "Seeing as how we are strikingly similar in our archetypes, what the fuck is he thinking and feeling, or does the ultimate warrior assassin wall that off? Did I cause him to wall it off by triggering his emotions? The no-no land for guys like him. I tried very hard to delay or avoid feeling vulnerable, but tenderness kind of sneakily crops up, and he landed in that patch consistently enough by tricking him through skillful, well-thought-out seduction. I'll do your steps, study your material, contact you for coaching. My brain can't wrap around this question. Did he ever love me? What's he thinking and feeling now? It's been 2 to 3 months since we texted. We dated for about 2 months, on and off for about 7 months after that. I promise I won't use what you tell me to get back at him, just to heal myself. That's not a real promise, just a possibility." So, I mean, you can see that women go through the same things, and it sounds like, from what you're sharing with me, is that you came off being needy, and it sounded like you also got a little bit in your masculine and tried to control the direction of the relationship. Now, here's the thing you gotta understand about us guys, is that we have to feel like we're successful at making you happy in the relationship, because just masculine energy is about achieving. And so if you have an orgasm, hey, we did it. Even though we might not have done it, we take responsibility for it. If you're happy, we feel it's because of something that we did. That's just the way we are. And if you're always trying to control where the relationship goes because you're afraid ultimately that deep down he's not going to love you, or he's not going to want you, or he's not going to be with you, and then you act more masculine instead of feminine, or you withhold sex, which women sometimes do those kinds of things. Because remember, we want a woman who is hot and sexy and who we just can't fucking get enough of. She's constantly the fucking Victoria's Secret girl. It's like, why do we watch? Why do guys go to strip joints? Why do guys look at pictures of beautiful women doing sexy things or being in sexy poses? That's just the way we are, because we're visual creatures. And so you always want to be a sexy, hot woman that is someone we want to be around and we want to seduce. We don't want any drama. We don't want a fucking hard time. Life is hard enough. When we come home, we just want a chick that'll fucking pull our pants down and fucking give us a blowjob when she can tell that we've had a hard day, and then not expect anything in return, and make us comfortable, make us forget about our lives to get all caught up in your sexy feminine world. That's what you need to do over and over. It's a seduction that never ends. But if you said yourself the relationship becomes competitive, so probably more than likely times in the relationship he felt like he was competing with a dude. Well, for a masculine guy, it's a real turnoff when his feminine girl starts acting like a dude and competing with him, because we're driven by the desire to try to make the other person happy, just because we're men. And if we feel like we can never make you happy, or like we're always competing against you, then it's like we never feel like we win. And so those are just some things that I picked up on here from your email that I noticed. But it sounds like you wanted things to happen quicker than they were, and you might have scared them away, or maybe you were dating a guy that just really wasn't that into you, or maybe it was just great sex for a while. I really don't know. I can't tell enough from what you shared with me, but through what's in my book and in my videos and other things, you should be able to figure out where you went wrong based on what I said in the video here, some pausing and self-reflection, and you'll figure it out. So if you have a question that you want to ask me, go to my website, click the Contact Me tab on the left-hand side of your screen, and send me 1 to 2 paragraphs max, and just give me several days to get back to you with a response. If you want to talk to me right away, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the Products tab, which will be at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. If you want a digital version of my Kindle ebook, go to my website, click on the right-hand column. There's underneath the email sign-up box is a link that will take you right to the Amazon Kindle download page. Once you get there, if you don't have a Kindle device, there's a button on the right-hand side of the download page you can click to download a free e-reader app for your smartphone, tablet device, or your computer. It only takes a matter of seconds to download and install it and complete the purchase of my book. And if you appreciate the value of the information I offer in these video newsletters, the articles on my website, and my ebook, you can show your appreciation by going to my website, and on the Wibia toolbar, which will be at the bottom of your screen on any page, click the PayPal donate button and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information. I will talk to you soon.